Welcome to the Health Coach Nation podcast. My name is Haley Rowe, and I'm a sales and marketing coach and LinkedIn lead generation service provider. I work with health, life, and mindset coaches and online service-based business owners to help them get more sales, shift their time to the client-generating activities instead of just the busy work, and overcome that social media overwhelm. Let's get into the show. If you've been working at your coaching business for a while, you might have found out by now that it's not as easy as you thought to get clients. If that is you, I want to invite you to check out my free workshop sharing how to go from crickets to clients, creating a freebie funnel formula. So in the series, I share with you how to make a freebie that people actually want, that they actually opt into, so that you can grow your email list, so that you always have an audience to share your offers with. And you always have an audience where they are being nurtured by you, they're moving through the sales cycle, and you're not stuck every time you have a launch feeling like you have zero eyeballs on your content. So if that has been you, if you've been stuck in that and you know you need a bigger audience, you know you need to nurture your audience, go to haleyrowe.com/live event, all one word, to get the free series and get started. Today, we're going to be talking about your business timeline and staying strong with your mindset, because we all know entrepreneurship and starting your own business and getting your own clients as a coach or a service provider is a journey, and usually going from 0 to 1 is the hardest phase and the hardest part, because not only are you learning things for the first time and doing it for the first time, you're also having to apply it, and you're going to not be good at any new skill when you first start. It's pretty normal to be bad at something before you get good at something. And so we're going to be talking about that process today, because honestly, that's the part of the entrepreneurial journey that a lot of times is the most rewarding and exciting, because when you get that first client, when you get that first big opportunity, when you get that first big partnership, it feels so incredible and like a dream. But getting to that point, also the reason why it feels so good when you get there is because of the contrast you experience along the way, and because it's always the first, it's all new, it's all novelty, and that can be really scary for a lot of people, cause them to overthink, cause them to jump around and not be focused. And today we're going to talk about some things to keep your mindset strong and set your business timeline for yourself, meaning be able to keep going no matter how long or short the timeline is, okay? So when we talk about business timeline, I always like to just share, like, nothing has gone wrong if you started your business and you do your first couple posts and no one replies, or you book your first discovery call and someone ghosts you, or they do not show up. Or you get your first 3 email subscribers, but then you're at a low for like 2 weeks and you're thinking, oh my gosh, something's gone terribly wrong. No, the phases of business usually are, people are not going to pay attention to you at first. Then they're going to pay a little attention, but drop off. Then they're going to pay attention and actually do your call to action, like book a call with you, but then maybe not show up. Or then they're going to show up and say they want to do it, but then back out. Or then they're going to sign up and pay you, and then they're going to, ghost you midway through the program or something like that. So all of this is kind of just part of the game of entrepreneurship and the learning process. And as much as I'd love to tell you, you get to skip any unpleasant part of business, you don't. And we can set you up for success. We can create a plan. We can move things along probably faster than if you were researching everything by yourself. But you're still going to have uncomfortable emotions in business and in any job you pick. And your job is to get better at managing those emotions, at focusing on the satisfying parts of having a business, and keeping your mindset strong. So the first thing I just want to share is I hear a lot of entrepreneurs when they come to discovery calls with me or they're commenting on my posts, they'll say things like, I feel so behind in my business. And one shift I really want to encourage you to think about is, no, you're not behind. You're just one post or one client or one connection or one step away from your next sale, from your next win or success. When you see it that way, your eyes and ears are open and learning and receiving good momentum thoughts and ideas that will move you forward. So rather than always thinking you're behind and staying in that lack mindset and scarcity and I thinking about the past, thinking about how you should have done things differently in the past or you should have done more, think about the future and think, I'm one step, one post, one connection, one meetup group, one thing away from my next sale. I wonder what that could look like, and get focused there. The other thing is, anything that's worthwhile and meaningful and creating your dream lifestyle, it's worth the time. It's worth it. Anything worth meaningful takes time to build. There's no universal schedule for every business owner that, okay, everyone starts here, then this happens, and this happens. Your timeline is going to be your timeline. And opening yourself up to the fact that it's the right timeline for you. And I believe, I don't know if you believe this, but I believe that God only gives you what you're ready for, and you only attract what you're ready for. And so whenever you're taking this time to compare yourself to others and think, I'm behind, they're further along than I am, your timeline, you have to shift your focus to understanding your timeline is your own. And when you compare it to others, it only takes your energy away from the things that actually move you forward. How much time are you spending in lack, in comparison, and I'm not good enough, in perfectionism, versus how much time could you be spending on applying and doing and putting yourself out there and connecting with people and serving and seeing how can I help and being curious and coming from that energy. The next thing is, with entrepreneurship, you can look at successful entrepreneurs, and instead of comparing yourself and causing that to make you feel behind, look at that and see it as inspiration. This is proof it can work. This is proof that this lifestyle is possible for you. So look at the people who you normally compare yourself to and instead see it as, wow, this is proof that I can figure this out too. And if you don't believe that because you have limiting beliefs about yourself, that is something to work on with a coach. And I do coach on mindset, I do coach on marketing, I do coach on sales, I coach on the entrepreneurial journey. So if you're curious about that, you can always reach out. The next thing is, you got to focus on the process instead of just the outcomes. So building up your business from 0 to 1 is going to be very important to not just say, oh, well, today's day 1, I didn't book a client, so something's gone wrong. No, focus on what did you do today to get you closer to booking a client, and celebrate the process. Whether you land a client this week or next month, you still have to show up for the process every day in the marketing, or a couple times a week, depending on what you've defined as your protocol and your targets and all that kind of stuff. But consistent action is what builds businesses. And so in order to stay consistent without losing, our drive and drifting from our goals, we have to find satisfaction in executing the process well and not just the results. So find satisfaction in the journey, in the mess of it, in the figuring of things out, in the process of doing your first post or first launch or first webinar. Celebrate those little steps of progress in that project instead of thinking, well, I did the webinar, but I haven't gotten as many email subscribers as I would have hoped for the first time or something like that. Celebrate the process, not just the outcomes. And focus on the process. That's what's within your control. What's not within your control is controlling other people, controlling what they say to you, controlling how they perceive your webinar. What is within your control is focusing on improving your webinar, focusing on hearing their feedback, focusing on the process, right? The other thing is, if you are overwhelmed with all the different things you want to be tracking as an entrepreneur and improving, and it's causing you to feel really behind, start with just making tracking manageable. Instead of having overwhelming metrics, just track one simple thing daily. Like today, it could be, did I show up authentically today? Did I serve someone today? Did I help someone today? Did I do something that will get me closer to more email subscribers? Did I help my clients today? Whatever it is, but small wins, and looking at those things and tracking that will allow you to see, okay, I am consistent, I am moving forward, and keep you going on the journey instead of fizzling out or burning out. The other thing is, make sure, this is a book I recommend. It's called The Gap in the Gain, and it is by Ben Hardy and Dan Sullivan. And it's for entrepreneurs because we so often want to be striving all the time for more, but we tend to forget to look at how far we've come. So look at where you started your business idea to where it is now, and I guarantee you've had some progress. I guarantee even if you haven't had the income level or the amount of clients you want to have, you've definitely had some movement and momentum and lessons and things that have caused you to make gains. And the reason why I'm talking about this is our brains are wired to focus on our gaps, our problems, our everything that's wrong with us. And if we get in that mindset, we're oftentimes in scarcity. We're oftentimes in high pressure mode for a business, expecting our businesses to provide for us and putting a lot of pressure on that. And we're out of abundance, creative, momentum, excited mindset. We're out of even just a stable mindset because we're in like this lack, everything's a problem mindset. So we have to look at how far we've come and the gains that we've had to get ourselves back into the momentum type of mindset and the abundance type of mindset, instead of staying stuck in all of the gaps, right? So just make sure you're taking time to, measure the gains and track and evaluate. And I just made a video about that yesterday in the Marketing Hub Facebook group, if you're hearing this when this is live, all about the importance of evaluating, the importance of tracking, and how that can help you move forward in business and keep improving and work smarter, not harder. So when it comes to the timeline you have in mind for your business, I have a couple pieces of advice. Number one, expect everything to take longer than you think it's going to take. Humans are really, really bad at estimating how long things will take. So rather than disappoint yourself up front by picking something really tight, pick something really long and be pleasantly surprised that you're crushing it and you're doing it way faster than you thought. Number two, use the tips I shared today. So make sure you are focusing on your process over the outcomes and enjoying the process and finding ways to celebrate the process and improve the process and do what's within your control when it comes to the timeline. And make sure you are not comparing yourself, but using that other people you're comparing yourself to as proof of what's possible, all of that. And if you have questions or you really want to have some structure when it comes to how to approach your business and what's within your control with the business, meaning how you're approaching marketing, how you're approaching sharing your offer, how you're approaching your content to get more engagement and grow your audience and your visibility. These are the kinds of things that I work on with clients. And I'm actually going to be sharing soon a free workshop about how to gain more clients using Instagram and some tips you can be using on Instagram. So if you are curious about the 4 steps to client attraction using Instagram specifically, comment workshop below and we'll keep you in the loop about when that's going to be live. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks.
Thanks so much for listening to this podcast. And if it's really helpful for you, I'd really appreciate if you share it and or leave a written podcast review. This tells the podcast sites that our show is useful and it will be promoted to more people that way. Thanks again.